So how do you play reroll compositions in TFT Set 11 correctly? That's exactly what we're going to look at in this video. We're going to show you when to level, when to roll for your champions, when to econ, and when you need to strengthen your board. So the current TFT meta is defined almost completely by reroll comps due to the majority of forecast champions being quite lackluster, or in some cases even just downright bad, effectively providing not much more than an effective emblem to hit a synergy. One of the most dominant reroll compositions that we've seen so far this season is the ever-present Yum build. These either hinge on the Heavenly reroll or the Umbo reroll builds. Other high usage reroll comps you see is the 1-cost Mythic Sniper build, or the Duelist reroll build, scaling hugely off the Tristana Volibear units, both being very strong champions in their own right, where Volibear can definitely 1v9 a game. So we're going to take you through the main styles of rerolling and how to hit your carry units, starting with the 1-cost rerolls. In the past 2 seasons, the 1-cost rerolls have always been a solid bet for one-tricking, as the ability to stabilize so early in the game and so often get your units. You can go on a great win streak and really set yourself up for a top 4 placement at least, because others are going to not hit their build, they're not going to be able to deal with your early damage, and they're going to go out before you. So the only real 1-cost reroll team this season is the Mythic Snipers build, which utilizes a strong complementary frontline of Malphite and Cho'Gath, and the double snipers of Kog'Maw and Caitlyn. Typically when running the 1-cost reroll build, it's important to not spend any coins on leveling up until you hit the majority of your 3-star 1-cost units, building up econ until stage 2-7 or 3-1. 3-1 would be the most beneficial, as it would give you the most time to econ and give you that slight bit more gold. However, 2-7 is a PvE round and can make it easier to search for your champions under a little less stress, get them on the board and avoid taking an HP loss in the following round. So another important thing to note here is with this comp and any reroll comp in general is holding your units. If you aren't able to hit econ for a round, for example you have 22 coins instead of 20, you should always be purchasing 2 other 1-cost champions to ensure that the pool of 1-cost champions is slightly smaller for the next roll, making it so as you have a slightly higher chance of hitting the desired champion, such as a Caitlyn or a Kog'Maw. Obviously you sell these units to hit econ. For example, if you're 29 coins and you have 1 random 1-cost, do sell it to hit econ. So next we're moving on to the 2-cost reroll builds. So the most common compositions here include the Ghostly Ink Shadow team, focusing around Senna, Shen and Aatrox, or the Dryad composition, focusing around Gnar and Kindred. This style of reroll, you want to level to level 4 at 2-1 to increase the chance of hitting your 2-cost units. 2-1 allows for a stronger team early and likely reduces the damage you're going to take in the early stages of the game, as you will have an extra player on, as opposed to some people who may be going for a 1-cost reroll or looking for 1-cost champions at the time. If you prefer to econ, you can wait till 2-3 to do so and you'll level up naturally. This will allow you to get a little bit more econ, however you may take some more damage in the early game. So next you want to be leveling up while building econ with the goal of hitting level 6 with 50 plus coins at around round 3-2. So from here you'll have the highest odds of hitting your 2-cost units and you'll have enough champions on the board to remain competitive for stage 3. So it's important to slow roll here and to not tank your econ too heavily, as this will really hinder your build later and your ability to level up and keep up with the enemies. Go to level 6 when you're above 50 coins, reroll and just try and buy all your 2-cost units you need until you have them 3-star, and then level up to 7 and 8, etc, etc. If your carry champions are being contested and you don't want to pivot or you can't pivot, what you might want to do is consider rolling down to 0. So this is something that is very risky and I don't recommend doing most of the time, but if you're in a position where you have 6 or 7 of your champions and those are going to be your carries and you know they're being contested, it may well serve you well to spend your coins to 3-star them, so as you can get your build online and essentially make the other guy go dead at last because he's not getting his champions. Now that is the riskier strategy. However, if your champions are being contested, you will be recommended to either move on, level up and use the 2-star versions until you can naturally hit 3-stars throughout the game, else pivot to a different build. So finally we'll be discussing the 3-cost reroll. As mentioned previously, 2 of the most dominant reroll compositions currently are the Yone and the Volibear builds. Each of these builds have a really high likelihood of getting you a top 4, if not winning you the game altogether. So with the 3-cost reroll, you're always going to be wanting to level 4 at 2-1. Level 4 gives a 15% chance of high rolling a 3-cost unit early and putting you into a stronger position if you can hit your Yone or Volibear early on. Next we will want to level to level 5 at stage 2-5 to maintain tempo and to start building some econ as well. For level 6, this should be done at around 3-2 to keep tempo and to minimize any health losses, and you should eventually be leveling to level 7 as soon as you're permitted to, aka when you have 50 coins and can comfortably put access coins into your level. This would tend to be around the 4-2 area. If you can get it sooner, that's great. So if your board is being extremely weak and you're bleeding too much HP, you might need to reroll slightly before level 7. This is okay, just trying to keep it as minimum as possible, just to get yourself by until you can hit level 7, because that's when your real power spike comes. So once you hit level 7, the most important thing to do here is stabilize your board, aiming for 2 stars of your most important carries, for example Volibear and Tristana. So you generally want to be rolling here slowly over 50 coins, but you can roll down to 30 to stabilize if you're about to be on a really big losing streak or you're going to hemorrhage too much HP. Ideally, you would just continue this at level 7 until you hit your 3-star champion, and then you'll be able to level up further to 8 and 9 and get your additional champions on. However, this does not always go to plan because reroll builds are so popular, particularly the Yone and the Volibear builds. Often you're going to be contested, and in the event you're contested, you need to keep in mind that there are only 17 copies of each of these 3-cost champions. This essentially means that if there are already 3 different 2-cost Yones, for example, on different teams, or there is a gold Yone on some team, you will not be able to hit a 3-cost Yone of yourself, and you will need to then make a decision to either pivot your build entirely, or much more likely, because it's so late in the game, to just simply level up to 8 and level 9 to try and get on your complementary units like Wukong, Key, and things like this, to try and buff the board in that way. And then you can wait for the other teams to go out. Once they're out, their champions go back into the pool, and you can then start slowly rerolling again for your champions to buff you up later in the game. This is a trap that a lot of players fall into, and they go dead last a lot of the time because they don't scout the other people's boards. They don't know how many of their champion is gone. They'll continuously throw 100 coins at level 7 while not leveling up or really making any progress whenever it's physically impossible to 3-star champion. So that's just something to keep in mind, okay guys? Also, if you have duplicators, I would always recommend trying to use those last to 3-star your champion. For example, if you get 2 lesser champion duplicators, you want to wait until you have 7 Yones and then use the last 2 to get him. That way you're not drawn from the pool, because how duplicators work is they will take away from the pool if the 17 copies have not been hit, but in the event all 17 copies have been hit, you can still duplicate. So that is the thing behind that. So that is how you play every reroll composition. Hopefully that information has been helpful. Hopefully you guys can climb some more LP with this information. If you liked the video, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.